Now listen carefully, because this part will feel familiar. You have known a love like this one, or you have stood close enough to one that you know what the heat feels like from the outside. They found each other in the margins of the day, in the hours that belong neither to duty nor to sleep, in the borrowed intervals between one obligation and the next, in the spaces that the official structure of a life leaves unaccounted for. Stolen time is its own kind of intimacy. You know this, everything is sharper when it might be taken back. Every moment has the quality of a last moment, and that quality intensifies everything in it. They were careful, they were not reckless. They were careful in the way people are careful when the stopping is not actually an option, and the carefulness is the only concession they are willing to make to the reality of their situation. He came and went. She remained and performed her duties, and performed them well, and no one looking at her would have seen anything other than the Pythia in her fullness. He did not win her heart in those early months. That is important. She gave him portions of herself and held back the rest, and he accepted what she offered and came back for more, and she told herself the arrangement was controlled. She built walls around it in her mind, and she described the walls to herself as they walked, and she believed in the walls more than the evidence warranted. Their love was most vivid when they were broken, when his soldier's body had been recently marked by something he would not name in full, when she had spent hours as the god's instrument and emerged from it hollowed and strange. Those were the hours they reached for each other with the most complete honesty. There is a kind of love that finds its truest expression in damage. That does not mean it is broken. It means it feeds on what is real, and what is most real about us is what we are when we are not performing. Wildfire needs something to consume. That is not a flaw in wildfire. That is how wildfire works. Apollo watched. He is the far shooter, the god of light and foresight, the one who sees past the edges of what is currently visible to what is approaching from the far horizon. He had seen this configuration before. Other women of his service, other mortal men arriving with their certainty and their love and their complete failure to understand the nature of what they were reaching for. He knew how the thread ran. He said nothing yet. He was patient. Gods who live outside of time can afford a patience that mortals cannot access. And Apollo was particularly gifted at patience, when patience was the sharper instrument. Aeolid should have known better. He should have known that women like Apollina do not exist outside of prophecy, that they are threaded through it by virtue of what they are and what they do and what they carry. You cannot court the Pythia privately. The god sees everything she sees. The god is present in every room she enters, not metaphorically, not as an abstraction, but genuinely and specifically there. Aeolid sailed toward her with the wind at his back and the confidence of a man who has survived enough storms to believe himself proof against all weather. He pressed on. He did not look at what was forming on the horizon. Men, like Aeolid, do not look at horizons when they have a direction already. The horizon is just where they are going.